Hey guys, we're back. We decided we'd do a price breakdown video of our budget each month. Over the last couple of days, we have been taking a lot of footage of San Juan and the surrounding areas, but we've decided that I'm definitely not great at editing. I'm not great at anything when it comes to technology, and Cody doesn't quite have the patience for it. So we decided to try out an editor. So in the next couple of days, we should have a bunch of footage to upload onto YouTube. But in the meantime, we figured we'd do a budget breakdown of what we spend. Everything is going to be in US dollars because that is what they use here. They also have a national currency, which is Cordobas. But Cody can explain this a little bit better.
Yeah, so Ortega has set the Cordova to the US dollar on a straight currency swap, kind of the way that the Bahama dollar works. So it's set to $1 American to 36.55 Cordovas. So the currency doesn't change day to day. So if you were to go to a convenience store or a grocery store, you can pay with US dollars and they will give you the proper change in Cordovas as it doesn't fluctuate. We're going to use US dollars because it's easier for us. The only way to really get Cordovas here is you have to go get your money changed, but there's not a huge point doing it because they take US dollars everywhere at a set range. It doesn't really make sense to constantly get them swapped unless you're going to a small market or something. Most places will have change for your American dollar. We've got a breakdown on some paper here. So if we're looking down, that's kind of what's going on. I'm going to try and be more natural this video. I'm not acting like myself in the videos because I feel very awkward. It's something I'm going to have to get used to.
This has been a process for us. If you ever want to test your relationship, try starting a YouTube channel. This has not been super easy, but we're just going with the flow and we're trying to have fun with it. So yeah, the price breakdown. Our biggest cost each month is rent. Rent, we pay $600 US a month, and that includes internet and water, but not drinking water. You can't drink the water here from the taps. We also get a cleaning lady, a cleaning service. She comes in once a week and changes the bed sheets and the towels, and she sweeps and mops and stuff. So that's nice. We pay probably a little bit more, like a premium, to live where we live because we have a community pool. There's a bar on site, and yeah, we have the air conditioner as well, which is nice, but you can live cheaper.
We also have 24-hour security, so that's a big plus here. It's not unsafe in this country, but it's just nice that we can leave things out on our porch and there's constantly somebody here. There's also 3 property workers, like landscapers, keytadors. They work around 8 hours a day taking care of the pool, cleaning around our house. So, we're in kind of a gated gringo community, so we are paying probably more than most people do, but we have first world amenities in a third world country, so that's kind of why our rent is a little bit higher than most.
But you can actually spend a lot more. There are places that are $1,000, $1,500 a month, but yeah, I would say we're middle to high range, I guess. If you wanted to live more like the locals, you can live in a Nica home for about 150 to 300 US a month. You're definitely not getting air conditioning with that or a pool. But
yeah, I've seen some spots in town close to the beach for 150 to 200, but yeah, they're small studios and you don't have air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it all depends how you want to live. We've been living like we do in Canada here. Well, actually, probably better than we do in Canada. So with this budget, keep in mind that you can definitely do it cheaper. This was our first winter away, so we probably spent more money than we will next winter. But I would say for what we've done here, we're basically living kind of like millionaires in Canada. We basically do whatever we want, and we don't really worry too much about the price.
Yeah. Our next biggest expense is electricity. Electricity here isn't extremely cheap, but we pay a little bit more because we have the 2 air conditioning units, one in the bedroom, one in the living room, and they're on almost constantly. And it's around 200 US a month.
Yeah, our neighbor pays 50 US a month. She doesn't turn her AC on, but I'm on the pudgy side, and I can't sleep without air conditioning. I can go all day without it, but me and the dog cannot sleep without air conditioning. I have to have it on. I'm a sweater while I sleep. I get very hot while I sleep. So that's why we leave the air conditioner running. We came to the conclusion that whether you turn it on right before bed and run it at night or run it all day, because it takes so long to get cold at night, you might as well run it because the price stays relatively the same.
If it were up to me, we wouldn't have AC on anytime, but it's okay. I compromised. Our next bill would be our cell phones. So down here they have two providers, or there's two main providers anyways, Tigo and Claro. We use Claro, not for any particular reason. I think that was just what we found first. We have chosen to do the 15-day package twice a month, and it's $12 per person per month. So $24 for the two of us per month.
Yeah, so every time you go to renew your phone, it's about $6 every 15 days. Both Tigo and Claro are the same price. The only difference that I've heard from some of my friends who are Nicas is that Tigo, it doesn't work as good in the cities, but it works better when you're out of the cities, like on the Chocolata, or if you're, outside of the city, where Claro for us has been perfect. It's relatively cheap. I'll let Tally detail what you get for your money, but for $6 for 15 days, it's an incredible price.
We get a decent amount of data. I think it's 10 gigs of data per person per month. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what I have written down. But you also get unlimited like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X, I think. Yeah, so we haven't had any issues with that. So that's great. So $24 for both of us for the month. So
yeah, it's 10 gigs of data, but it doesn't take off what Tally was trying to explain is it doesn't take off the 10 gigs. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want, but the data doesn't come off. So you basically have unlimited data for the 4 services, and then you get 10 gigs. We've never used all the 10 gigs before the 15 days were up, and I'm on my phone 99% of the day. So that kind of will give you a justification for, and we have the highest paid package. There's no package that costs more money for the 15 days. This is the most data you can get.
Okay, the next thing would be gas. We purchased a 4-wheeler when we got here, so the gas is for the 4-wheeler. I think it's about $1.34 a liter, which is US. So it's it's on the higher side, it's on the pricier side for sure. But because it's an ATV and the price fluctuates each week as to how much we're going to spend, depends on how much driving we do. So I think we estimated it around $15 a week. So about $60 a month for gas, US.
Yeah, gas right now in Canada, I think, is about $1.65. So it's very, very similar in price when you do the conversion. It might be a little bit more here, but we're also running super in the ATV. But the thing with gas is we're not really sure how to propose the price to you guys because it all depends on how much driving you do. Obviously, the ATV doesn't use a ton of gas to go anywhere, but if you're going to town 3 or 4 times a day all week, obviously you're going to use more than $15 a week in gas, which is what we use. We usually go to town when Tally has her Spanish lessons, which is 3 days a week. So, and then I do all my running around while I'm in town for the 2 hours while Tally's in her lesson. So it really just depends how much driving you do. I do more driving than most, but I mean, for $15, I think you could do a decent amount of driving, and it's relatively cost efficient.
I think for reference, we're about 11 to 13 kilometers from San Juan del Sur. And I think it takes me about 22 minutes to drive into town. Cody, it'll take a lot quicker, just for reference.
Yeah, if you take, honestly, now we would probably use even less gas because before the 11 kilometers was about a 20-minute drive on the Chocolata. Now that they finished the Costanera, I can be to town in about 8 minutes. So the 11 kilometers in 8 minutes is much better for gas. Before, you were only going 11K, but your bike is literally running wide open for 22 minutes based on how shitty the road is.
Yeah, where we live out here, it has only been accessible by a dirt road for the longest time. But over the last couple of years, the Nicaragua has been building a carretera, which is a new highway to get to all of the beach towns. So that has made it a lot easier for us to get into town. It's been a great upgrade.
The other day when I was driving, actually, it turns out I was interviewed on the 4-wheeler on the Costanera, which is the new coastal highway. It goes from Pochumil near Managua all the way down basically to the Costa Rican coast, and every beach is attached to the highway with an exit. So maybe I'll try at some point and put up the video of me driving the four-wheeler down the Costanera. But yeah, it's much quicker now than it used to be. For the last, well, I guess forever, they've been using a dirt road to get here. So it used to take from town the first time we came about an hour to get to Madeiras. Now it's like I said, it's about 8 minutes. So that's the difference that the Costanera makes in your gas. The amount of gas you use in a week, it's gone way down.
Okay, the next thing is groceries. We've got a couple different topics here for groceries. So fruits and vegetables are something that we get off the fruit trucks. Trucks come here right to this property and sell fruits and vegetables. They come every couple of days, but we purchase fruits and vegetables about twice a week off of them, and it ranges how much we spend, but we think about per month on fruits and vegetables, we spend about 120. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, so that might be more than what people were expecting. But meat, Cody can talk about that because I don't eat meat.
Yeah, with Tally being a vegan, she definitely eats more fruit than most, but the fruit here is fresh. They pull it off in the morning. They bring it here usually in the morning, but it's as fresh as you can get. A lot of it is organic. Actually, they don't use a lot of chemicals here, and GMOs are illegal in the country. Ortega outlawed GMOs, which is probably one of the greatest things that any leader has done. But yeah, so we honestly don't spend. That's pretty much most of our diet, but we don't spend that much because of the price here. Most of the farmers don't ask a ton for their fruit and vegetables. For my meat, this is a huge beef exporter. Nicaragua exports most of its beef actually into North America, but because we're in Nica, it's all grass fed, most of it's antibiotic free, and it's dirt cheap. I pay about $7 for a 1 pound ribeye. I usually eat 4 ribeyes a week, so you're about $28 for beef. And then I buy chorizo, which is pork with spices. If anyone's ever been to Mexico, they probably had it. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's about $1 for a pound. So I eat a couple of those a week. So we figured total we're somewhere around, like my meat budget's $120 a month, and honestly I eat like a king. You can't, to eat ribeyes 4 nights a week for $28 is absolutely insane.
Never be able to afford to eat ribeyes four times a week in Canada.
No, in reference, I think a 1 pound now is around $32 Canadian. So that's a huge difference when you look at it that way.
So the next item is like the stuff we would get from the grocery store, like our basics, pantry staples, like rice and beans, and those are a staple down here for sure. Potatoes, things like coffee, spices, sauces, like things for cooking. All that stuff is extremely cheap. Everything that is made here is extremely cheap. So I would say about $60 a month for that kind of stuff that we get at the grocery store. The grocery store is called Ahora Mas. And then the next thing would be water for drinking, and they come in the big like 18-liter jugs, and we go through about 1.5 to 2 a week. Those to replace is 100 Cordobas, which is about $2.60. So each month we spend about $20 on drinking water. The next one.
Yeah, because I have what Cesar likes to call a pauncha, or a little bit of a belly. I mean, it's definitely gone down since we got here because the food is so healthy. There's no chemicals. I lost about 40 pounds when we first got here, and I wasn't doing any exercise. I was just sitting around surfing YouTube every day, relaxing. But because of the food, I lost a lot of weight. So as Tally was going to say, Cody has a giant snack budget. Because it's so hot, I constantly have to have a drink, as you can see in the video. I pretty much can't go without a water or a carbonated water. So,
and we have a tienda that is literally like 1 kilometer up the road from us. So we walk there like probably 4 times a day.
Yeah, if not, if I need another water, I'll just jump on the ATV. We figure that my snack and drink budget's around $200 a month. I actually quit drinking alcohol. Most of you know me as a party man and a guy who loves drinking beer, and I still love drinking beer, but I realized after the first 2 months here that it's just not good for me. I was drinking every day, even though the beers are about $2 each or $1.
Beers are cheaper than energy drinks.
It becomes a bit of a problem because everyone here always wants to go have a drink, and that's everyone's favorite activity. But when you love drinking as much as I do, it can quickly become a bit of a problem. So I've been doing good. I've been sober for 35 days now, and I made it about 120 days before. So my snack and food budget's about $200 for snack and drinks, but that's mostly carbonated waters, energy drinks, and 3 packs of Oreos a day. I found a love for blonde Oreos here.
He's got a new fix now.
I never really ate them in Canada, but all of a sudden I realized that they're delicious. So if I go to the store, I usually eat, I don't know, 20 or 30 Oreos. It's about $1 for 12 Oreos. So
the next thing is eating out, like eating coffees or sweet treats for me, or sometimes Cody will eat like a dinner out. So if he's eating a meal out of the house, it's usually about
it's about 210 cords or $7 US, pretty much for everything I eat. I don't tend to eat gringo food or like food from back home. I usually eat local fish or like a local platter of Nica food. My favorite is a place close to us. It's 210 cords. You get 2 chicken breasts with jalapeno cream sauce, 4 tostones, which are mashed plantains, some rice, and a cabbage salad that's basically the size of a takeout Chinese container for one back home. And it's everything I can do to eat it. But the thing is, I'm not a huge eater, so if I eat once a day, that's all I'm going to eat. So whether I eat at home or eat out, honestly, I spend roughly $7 a day on food. That's my food, like not snacks or drinks, but that's my food budget. So you can eat out here. You don't have to cook, and it's $49 US a week to eat out every single day if you eat one meal a day.
But I think on average, he's probably spends about $40 to $50 a month on dinners out, which is like once or twice a week, maybe, if that.
Yeah, if we're out somewhere and we're out for a 4-wheeler ride, we go for lots of rides. I'll tend to grab something if I'm hungry, just because it's easier. And honestly, I don't know how they can cook it for the price, because for me to buy everything and cook it at the house here, I'm probably into more money.
And I like to have my fancy coffees and sweet treats once in a while. And unfortunately, the place I like to go to is the most expensive for coffee. So about once or twice a week, I'll get like an iced latte, and those are like I think they're about $5 US each, so same price as back home pretty much. And there's a vegan pastry shop here, which has been awesome. Not for the budget though, because they're not outrageously expensive, but they're more expensive than Nicaraguan food. So I spend about $60 a month on sweet treats, pastries, brownies, and muffins, and fancy coffees. So.
Yeah, one of the things we did mention, but I actually forgot to say something while Tal, I didn't want to cut her off. When we mentioned our weekly budget for incidentals, we drink very high-end coffee here. You can buy coffee very cheap if you buy Toro. I like the Nicaraguan coffee. It's one of the best coffees in the world. I buy us the higher-end coffee. It's about $12 a pound, but if you buy a pound, it probably lasts a month, and we drink a lot of coffee. So you could realistically cut that budget if you wanted, but the one joy I have now that I'm not drinking is my morning coffee, so I'm not going to cut the price on the coffee.
Yeah. So that is basically all of our like essentials. We didn't add in all of like the fun touristy things that we've been doing, but those aren't things that we do weekly. We had friends and family come visit us throughout the months that we've been here. So, things like horseback riding, jungle tours, boat rides, but those aren't things that we're going to be doing each month. So we didn't include those. So the total price each month that we've been spending has been approximately $1,520. That's for 2 people. That's including rent and everything. So $1,520.
Yeah, that's US. So if you're thinking in Canadian, I did the math. It's somewhere around $2,000 Canadian a month. But again, we're not trying to live on a budget. We are budgeters. We always have been. But because it's our first winter away, we also went to the Corn Islands. I did a scuba diving course.
Yeah.
Got my scuba diving license. That was probably $2,000 in total. But at the same time, you can't live in Canada for 2 people on $2,000 a month. It's not physically possible.
You can hardly get rent for $2,000 a month.
Yeah, and like we said, we aren't living a budget lifestyle. We are living the way we want. And for all you people that think you couldn't afford to live here, maybe you need to make more money before you can come, you could definitely live here on far less than $1,500 US a month. We just have enough money that we can choose to live the lifestyle we want. We saved for this is what we worked for the last 15 years, and so this is where we are. I have a tendency when I go to town, I like to get my beard cut in, a face shave, and my hair done. In Canada, it costs me $100 to get a fade and a beard trim. I pay $7 here. I go once a week. How can you not go once a week when it's $7? It's something I enjoy. The guys are hilarious at the barbershop. They play whatever Spanish rap music I like, and for $7, you look good all the time. Back home, I can only afford to go once every 3 months. It's $100 here. You know, what is $7? Price of a coffee? You can't even go to Starbucks for $7.
Price of my coffee.
So that's another thing that you don't have to budget. I like it. It's something I enjoy, so I chose to do it.
One other thing that we didn't mention in our budget, because this is something is more personal to me, is I've been taking Spanish lessons. I would say the Spanish lessons aren't outrageously inexpensive, but it's definitely been worth it 100%. I definitely am going to continue with this. It's been about $65 to $75 a week, but I've been going 3 times a week, 2 hours each session. So about $250 to $300 a month US, but that is not something that is going to be in everybody's budget. But just in case anyone wanted to know.
No, I think that's actually, it's on the high end, because Tally's been taking Spanish lessons online through Duolingo and doing Spanish lessons for about 8 years. So obviously she's a little more advanced. And I kind of forced her to do more lessons because she doesn't like to spend money, and she's getting very good. So, for somebody like me, I've been able to learn from the locals. I don't need Spanish lessons. I'm obviously not as good as Tally. I'm not fluent. My grammar's terrible, but I can hold a conversation. Honestly, most people would probably only do 2 hours a week of Spanish lessons, because it is honestly an overload trying to learn another language. I never understood how hard it is. It is not easy. But for Tally, for 6 hours a week, I think, what is it, $12 an hour?
$12 an hour.
US,
yeah,
like you can't do
so
anything in Canada for $12 US for an hour. Like, you can't even go to a movie. So if you think about it that way, even if you spend $100 a month on lessons, it makes things cheaper here too. When you can talk to people in Spanish and they don't think you're a gringo, you don't get overcharged at places like Melania Sanchez, where they decide that they're going to tack something extra onto your bill for no reason.
Yeah, it's definitely been like extremely worth it, and I'd definitely pay the price again. Yeah, so I think that is it. Yeah.
One thing we would like to say, though, is if you are to come here and you're going to stay for multiple months, your first month is going to be expensive.
Yes.
The reason is, we thought there was only one grade of Chinese goods. When you go to the Dollarama, we think that, it's $1. It's a piece of junk, but it'll work. Well, let me tell you, the Dollarama is the grade A of Chinese goods.
We can't wait to get back to Canada and buy things from the Dollarama.
They have Chinese stores here they call them Chino Tiendas, Chinese stores. They're like a dollar store, except they're not $1. They're like $3 or $5 US, and they are the biggest pieces of shit products you've ever seen in your life. I bought a charger from one I plugged in once, it fell apart. It's got a tail light warranty. You walk out of the store, it's no good. The locals don't even shop there because the stuff is so junk. But because you're here, there's really no other way to get anything, because the US doesn't ship most objects to this country. It's very, very difficult. I've ordered a bunch of stuff off Amazon. You have to have it third party shipped out of Miami. You pay $6 US a pound to get it here by air, or $3 by sea, but you don't really have much of a choice. So the first month, we probably doubled our budget just getting things like drying racks, pots and pans that we needed. There was some here, but obviously we needed more. What else did we have to buy? We had to buy more water jugs, because I'll have to edit that part out. Definitely can't talk. I had to buy more water jugs, because I drink so much. One water jug isn't enough. So I bought 4 water jugs, and you have to put a deposit down for the water jugs. Just miscellaneous things you don't think you're going to need. You're going to spend more than you think the first month. After the first month, your budget drops drastically.
And where we live, we're in a small little beach town. They don't have a lot of options for household items. You would have to go to the capital city, which is Managua, but it's like 2.5 hours away, and we don't love it there. So we never went there. I'm sure we could find everything we needed for the house there, but it's a 2.5, 3-hour drive to get there, and it's a busy place, and it's not as nice and clean as San Juan del Sur. So yeah, we got most of our stuff here or online.
Yeah, I think I made the decision. It costs a little bit more money, but I don't personally want to go to Managua. I don't like big cities. I don't like going to Toronto. So I would rather pay a little bit extra money to have it shipped here off Amazon instead of having to go by it. And the thing is, you basically have to look online to try and find the store here and go. It's not like in Canada. There's no Amazon, so you can't get things delivered directly to your house. And there is a Walmart but they don't have stuff like the Walmart in Canada. It's not the same. They have stuff, but they don't have everything. So you have to go store to store. It takes hours of your time. So honestly, it is worth spending a little bit extra to get it delivered. I'm trying to think of anything else that I haven't thought of. I'm trying to be more natural in these videos. My brother-in-law said I look like an idiot. I basically look like a businessman, and for anyone who knows me, I swear a lot and I don't talk like a businessman. So I'm trying to just relax. It's very hard.
Hopefully this will come more natural to us as we make more videos.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can just be myself on the video soon, and Tally can just kind of video my random shit that I do during the day.
I need to get quicker at bringing out the camera though, because like when there's moments where he's like goofing around with like the locals and stuff, I want to capture it, but I'm so slow. But by the time I get the camera out and start recording, the moment's over. So hopefully we'll start to get a little bit better at this. But this video is now almost at half an hour, so we should probably cut this now.
I think we'll let you go. We don't have anything more to say. I think that's it.
Ciao, adios.